Hi friends, today we are going to discuss the object-oriented programming in PHP. So, in object-oriented programming, we all know that it's a concept where everything is based on some templating structure and the way we use that template and access that template. So, object-oriented programming in PHP, although OOPS, the concept of OOPS has existed for much longer time, but it was incorporated into PHP. It was in version PHP 1.0. Sorry, it was not in version 1.0, but rather in version 5.0. The concept of OOPS was conceptualized in PHP, and from version 5.0 or better to say 5.x, all the OOPS concept was been present there. Now, the whole soul concept of OOPS was present inside PHP, or better to say the full length OOPS which we are trying to use these days is present in version 5.1. Not only that OOPS, but also PDO, that is the PHP data object, was also incorporated into PHP 5.1. So, but you can say that after PHP 5.1, this OOPS and PDO came into existence, and we will later see in the coming videos what is PDO, how to access database using procedural database structure, as well as the OOPS type of database concept. Now, as we all know, the OOPS has 13 parameters on which OOPS depend. They are specifically class, object, member variable, member function, inheritance, parent class, child class, polymorphism, overloading, data abstraction, encapsulation, constructor and destructor. So before we delve into the whole thing in a deep manner, let us see what are all these things all about. So what is class all about? Class is nothing but a template of an object. Consider a colored television. The TV is gives us picture, so it's like it is giving audio as well as video. And the TV is being created by many companies at the same time, isn't it? Some are black and white, some are color, some are LED, some are LCD, some are TFT or something like that. So these are quite a template, a basic template of all those things. Now, when we have a template, we have to use that template. Now the thing from which we can use that template is nothing but an object. So as previously I have mentioned, if TV is the class, then the object would be the remote control, because through a remote control you are able to access the colored TV. Now since a class is nothing but it comprises of some functions and some variables, so we use some fancy names for the functions and some fancy name for the variables. So those fancy name for functions are nothing but methods, which we call them methods, and the variables are known by the name property. Now, since we are using class, and classes have many properties, 13 parameters. Out of those 4 we have discussed right now. There are 2 kinds of classes. One is parent class, other is child class. A parent class is a class that is inherited by the other class, and a child class is a class that inherits a parent class. So a parent class is a superset, and a child class is a subset, or better to say, if you consider them in a language of set theory, then parent class is nothing but the universal set, and the child class is nothing but the subclass of that universal set. So if it's a universe and a subset relation, then every property of that universe get inherited inside the subset. So same happens over here. Every property, every variables get inside your child class. That is the fundamental property. And this whole process of inheriting the child into parent into child is known by the name inheritance. Now, in object-oriented programming language, we can use many kinds of methods. Those methods are nothing but, sometimes we use the same name of method into some other type of methods that we call by the name polymorphism, where one thing changes into another thing. But polymorphism, the concept of polymorphism is quite weird in PHP, because PHP does not support polymorphism at any aspect of time. So that's why PHP doesn't have any polymorphism kind of stuff. Now coming to the other part of object-oriented programming, it's called data abstraction, or better to say data hiding. In data abstraction or data hiding, what we do, that we hide some aspect of data using some specific keywords like public, private, abstract, and all those kinds of things. So we will see them in later classes and later lectures in much more detail. But right now we are seeing what are a basic info of a class. Okay. So let us create a class in PHP first. So to create a class in PHP, we always need a coder and a browser, and with these two are being connected using a server, because PHP is a server-side language. Right now we are using what? A WAMP server or a XAMPP server, but I am right now using a WAMP server. My preference is always remain to be a WAMP server, because it's very easy to use than a XAMPP server. People like XAMPP, it's their own choice, but my choice is a WAMP server. Okay, so let us create a class. So to create a class in PHP, we use the word class and the name of the class. Suppose right now I'm using a class whose name is Suman. So this is how we create a class. We use the keyword class and the name of the class, isn't it? So it's easy. Inside the class we can write some variables or properties. Suppose I'm writing the variable name. Okay, it's just one, then that is a public. Let us declare two functions inside it, or better to say methods, isn't it? Some fancy words of the same thing inside a class. So public function, first one is our famous hello world. So we have created a class. Inside a class we have created a member variable and a function that is known by the name methods, a fancy name, isn't it? So as we all know, functions return a value. Here this function hello world is going to return a value of hello world Suman. Okay, so easy. Let us create another function, but before that another function, let us see how to run this function. So as I have said, we have to instantiate an object, because object is an instance of a class, because an object holds variables and methods inside it. So create an object. So here I am creating an object over here, and this object will hold this function, this class Suman, and the variables and the methods inside it. So right now I will create a what you say object s $s, and it will hold the whole class inside it. Now to echo or to get the function, that is this hello world function, inside this thing, or better to use it, what we will do, we will write $s and the name of the function. So simple, isn't it? Great. Now coming to the browser, what we will do, we will run the file. Our file is prac.php. Here the same file is over here, it's present on the localhost. Let us run it. Yeah, it's run successfully. So this is how we are creating a function, and this function is not taking any variables, isn't it? Or call by value, what you people say. So right now this function hello world is just nothing but taking nothing variable inside it. It's just returning hello world Suman, and it is printing out the hello world Suman inside it. So guys, this is how you create a simple function inside it. Now what we do, let us create another method which will definitely going to take some variables with it. Now I will write it add two numbers. Great. Now when it is adding two numbers, that means we have to access this $x variable, we have to access this $y variable, isn't it? So to do so, we have to put this $x and $y variables inside the methods. Now calling these two variables inside a method is quite different from a function, and that is the major difference between a function and a method. Here we have to use something fancy over here. Just copy the whole thing. Echo $s and call the function add two numbers, and inside this add two numbers it is inserting two values. Okay, so let us right now comment this out and save the file and run it, isn't it? We are getting the summation of 400. Now let us check out what is the whole thing is going on over here. We have created a function, public function add two numbers. It is getting two values, $x and $y. Now this $x and $y values are actually being called inside this method using this function. That means I want to access this $x. I want to access this $x because there may be many $x variables inside this class over here, but not many, only this, using the arrow initiator or arrow symbol. Okay, so this $x is becoming this this arrow x, and this is equivalent to this. So such we have to write something new, and this is also one reason that sometimes PHP is known as a weakly typed languages. Many people don't like PHP due to these kinds of things, but it's okay because PHP is indeed a very powerful language. Now after creating this public whole function, we have to call this add two numbers method outside of the class. So we have previously initiated a object $s, and it's holding the whole class inside it, isn't it? Now when it's holding it, so when we have to call this add two numbers method, what we need to do, that we have to take this $s and this whole method using the arrow symbol. Okay, so this is another difference, and the two values, so 100 plus 300, that is 400. Now let us change the value over here and run it over here. Yeah, 200. So it all ran. So guys, this is how you can able to create a simple class, a simple PHP class, a simple object, access that object, methods using that object. So hope I have given you a brief idea how to use classes of a PHP. So hope